friends, I'm Erin. This is Erin Go Live. It's been a while. Yeah, I'm still here. I've been watching videos. Sometimes I comment. Usually the thing is when I'm watching videos, I'm not in a position where I can respond or like type a comment and then I feel bad and I know what I mean to say, but then I'm either driving or I'm cooking and like my hands are busy or whatever, but I'm watching your videos and I love you. But it's good to be back, good to be making a video. I've had like 20 times in the last month that I'm like, oh yeah, I should film, and I haven't, but here I am, I'm filming, and this is what I call a reading roundup, which basically just means that I haven't made a lot of videos, so I haven't told you about what I had been reading, what I have been reading, and what I plan to be reading soon, imminently. So that's what this is. So let's get into these books. One for middle grade March, I read 2 books for middle grade March this year, and one of which I started reading. No, it wasn't last middle grade. It wasn't last middle grade. It was after that, but it was after this is my new house. Well, this is a backyard. This isn't a house. This is my used to be beautiful garden back there. The previous owner was a fantastic gardener. She's one of the hardest working women I know. I've known her my whole life. This house was bought, and the houses on the street were built in 1985. That's when my family moved onto this street, a few doors down from where we are. And the people who owned this house had 4 kids. The 2 youngest were boys, and they were mine and my sister's age. And I grew up playing at this house. There was a doughboy pool right here where the garden is. Grew up swimming there, playing WrestleMania with the couch cushions inside. Kathy, the owner, the mom, always had the twin popsicles were the best, root beer or cherry. And yeah, a lot of really, really good memories at this house. And we've been here for now, like 8 or 9 months, I think. We closed, I think, May 31st, but we didn't really move in until like mid-July, I want to say. And things are finally taking shape, and I cannot keep up with a garden. I love the idea of a garden, but it's not going to happen. That was a long way of saying I started Colin Molloy's The Whiz Mob and the Grenadine Kid at some point last July. Once we moved into the house, it was just like unpacking, projects, all of that, and very, very little reading happened for months and months and months. But this was it had nothing to do with this book. If you recognize the name Colin Molloy, he is the lead singer of the Decemberists, and he read, what was that book? It was a series. I read the first one. I can't think of it, but it took place, I was Washington or Oregon, kind of fantastical middle grade adventure book, also very long. He writes a long book for sure. This is about a boy, what's his name? Charlie Fisher is the son of an American diplomat living in France, in Paris. And it's a very kind of like privileged but sheltered life. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He moves around a lot, and he just has this tutor, and it's a very, very stifled kind of life. As privileged as he is, and he just wants to be a boy. He just wants to be a regular boy, and he witnesses a pickpocketing, and it happens to him as well. He gets pickpocketed, and instead of being like upset and actually there's a police officer involved, instead of narking on the kid that pickpocketed him, instead he covers for the boy and is really interested, like, how did you do that? Can you teach me? And he becomes engaged with the Whiz Mob, which is a group of kids who are pickpockets. And there's this whole, obviously it goes beyond that, but that's the premise, and it was a really good time. Recommend this. I'm sure it would be great for a middle grade audience. I am no longer a middle grade audience, but as a reader of middle grade as an adult, I did really enjoy it, so I recommend that one. I did end up finishing it. I hope that lawnmower isn't too loud. If not, I will probably end up refilming this. We'll see. I did end up finishing this on audiobook, and it was a good audiobook as well. The other middle grade I read was one I'd been looking, thinking about reading for a very long time. That's Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. And this is a castle that moves. Sophie is the eldest of 3 daughters, and for whatever reason, like in this world, in her mind or whatever, that comes with like a sense or reality of misfortune for some reason. And the Witch of the Waste she becomes on the radar of the Witch of the Waste, and she ends up like running away. She runs up and ends up at Howl's Moving Castle with Howl, who's kind of like this eccentric magician guy. There's a character who, what's the character's name? He's literally like the fire. He's a fire demon. I can't think of his name right now. I feel like it starts with a C. But anyway, it's their adventure. It's breaking curses. It's kind of a found family element. It was a nice time, and I really makes me want to watch the anime of it, which I knew about the anime far decades probably before I knew that it was based on a book. Maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago, I was at Barnes & Noble, just, I don't know, retail therapy probably, and not looking for anything in particular, and 2 different staff members pointed out this book to me and were like, hey, that's a good book. Based on what else I was looking at, they're like, oh yeah, that's a good one. And that is Middle Tide by Sarah Crouch. Now, when I saw the name Sarah Crouch, I thought I recognized it. And when I've read, the little blurb about her back here, I realized how I knew her. She's an Olympic marathon runner. And I had read some of her pieces in Competitor magazine. So she's in Competitor and something else, Active magazine. But yeah, I had read her in Competitive magazine, just articles related to running gear, that kind of thing. And this is her debut novel. And this is it's one of those, I read it like a few weeks ago, and I'm like, let me look at the back of the book, and what was this actually about? I know I liked it, but what was it about? Oh, right, okay. So, the beginning of the book, we start with these fishermen discover a body. Classic beginning to a mystery thriller. This woman who turns out to be the town doctor by the name of Aaron is dead, hanging from a tree, and the property that it's on, it's like a ways down a trail and kind of like hidden away, but it's back behind in this little wooded lake area of our main character. And so we start kind of uncovering like who are the suspects. Based on the way that she was found, kind of at low tide, and just based on the way that the water ways and the topography work, there's only one direction where the killer could have come from. It had to have come from this trail that goes up to our main character's house. So there's the unfolding of that mystery. There's some relationship aspects going on. I had a really good time with this. I think it was a fantastic debut novel. I'm not like a crazy book critic, right? Like I go much more based on the feel, the experience that I had on it with the book, much rather than the kind of like objective points of literary merit, let's say. Writing, unless it's really clunky, like it has to be really bad for me to be like, that's not good. I could not be enjoying it and it'd still be a good book, right? Same thing, I can really enjoy it, and maybe somebody else is gonna find literary critiques to it. But I found the thing that will hang me up on a book is, do things take me out of the writing? I don't even know why I'm talking about this. This is more of a conversation about like the way I feel about books, or the way that I like rate books or whatever. But basically, the way that she writes allowed me to just be in the story, be engaged in the story, and there was nothing distracting, either because of over flowery writing, because that will pull me out of the story, or just like clunky dialogue or bad writing, anything like that. So I recommend this. Sarah Crouch, Barnes & Noble is recommending it as well. It's not very long. I think it's right around 300 pages. Yeah, 275 pages. So give this one a read. Sarah Crouch's Middle Tide, not Middlemarch, Middle Tide. And then I finally jumped on the bandwagon. So I was thinking about this yesterday with about Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which I haven't read, but I was watching Kim at Middle of the Book March talk about reading Fourth Wing, and then I think she had started Iron Flame, and it seems like there was this huge wave with Fourth Wing, with those books, and then especially with the Sarah J. Maas ACOTAR series of younger readers reading this. So whether it's YA, 20s, 30s, and it's not hugely popular around the 35 plus and beyond age range. And it seems like there now is like, we're finally catching up with these books. And it took older reader friends of mine reading and enjoying these books for me to even like entertain the thought that I might want to read these books. So I had seen, I think actually Kim at Middle of the Book March and Heidi at My Reading Life, maybe Doris at Aldi Books. But it's just like women whose reading taste I align with, whose thoughts I respect and all. And so it kind of took them reading them, almost gave me like permission to like, okay, maybe that is a book for me. So anyhow, all that to say, I also like the new covers. I read ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And I didn't really know what it was. Like, really, the only thing I knew going into the series was fairy smut. And it is far, far beyond that. I maybe further on in the series, it gets more smutty. And that's just a very small portion of what's happening in these books. But the setup for this is that this girl is out in the woods, and what's her name? Farah. She's basically like the provider for her family. Her sisters are completely useless. Her dad is useless. Mom's not around. I don't remember why. And there's this wolf. She's out hunting, and this wolf, she kills this wolf. The wolf, turns out it was actually a fairy, and there are consequences. She ends up getting pulled into the fairy realm, basically as a prisoner, as like penance for killing one of their own. She now lives there forever and has to be separated from her family, and that is the beginning of this. And smut ensues, a relationship begins, and I had a really good time with this book. So I went right into the second book. This is also kind of a way for me to bond with my sister-in-law to be. She is more of the age that you would typically find an ACOTAR reader, a Sarah J. Maas reader. But again, that's me overgeneralizing, stereotyping, whatever, sue me. She's 28. And we're both readers, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll pick that up, and then we'll have something specific to talk about as far as reading goes. So I'm currently reading A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm not super far into it, 145 pages into it, but it is quite a large book, and it picks up very quickly after the end of the previous book, so I can't really tell you what's going on. There's like kind of political machinations. She is kind of in constant fearful worry about her family, and the potential, the very real potential of never getting to see them again, but of their welfare being taken care of, as well as the relationship that she is in, and then the state of things among like the fairy realm, because it's not like things are all unicorns and rainbows. There's still different courts, they call them courts, and with different I'm struggling for the word I'm trying to think of, their own ambitions basically, and those don't always align, and so we have some conflict going on, and we're kind of like awaiting, like something's gonna happen. What is about to hit the fan, and where is Farah gonna be within that? How is it gonna affect her relationship, all of those things. So I'm enjoying that. As soon as I finish filming this video, I'm gonna be reading this, enjoying some more of the sunshine. By the way that the sun is hitting me, like my chest is white, like I'm a quarter Mexican, and I feel like you can kind of see that, but it's like very intense. I feel like my chest looks so white right now. Coming up in May, I'm going to have, so it's April 29th as I'm filming this, so very shortly, I'm going to be picking up Circe by Madeline Miller. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Melinda from A Web of Stories. And this will only be my third buddy read. I think the first buddy read I ever did, it was actually a group read. What was it of? It was a classic. I don't remember what it was, but Melinda was part of the group. And that's how we kind of came to know who each other were, actually. But we're going to be doing a buddy read of Circe. She was saying a while back, like, she's the only person who hasn't read this yet. And I was like, actually, no, there's two of us. So we're going to be finally reading this. This is probably one of the oldest books that I own, unread. Since 2018, when I discovered BookTube. It was very big at that time. Like, when did this come out? I believe I actually had to wait for this to come out because I think I had a pre-order for the hardback, and for some reason it didn't come through. And so, as you can tell, I have the paperback here. I'm struggling to find the page with the copyright information. Yeah, 2020. Oh wait, April 2018. Originally published in hardcover, Little Brown, 2018. Paperback, April 2020. So yeah, this is one of the oldest books on my physical TBR. It's very hard to kind of catch that with the. I can kind of see it better there. I have A Song for Achilles. Haven't read that yet. I'm hoping that this is going to be my gateway into Greek retellings because I'm drawn to them, but for some reason, I think it's intimidation. I haven't just like taken that leap into actually doing it. And so doing a buddy read, it's like, okay, Melinda can kind of hold my hand as we go into this, but I think I'm going to really like it. Hang on. I feel like I just like inhaled pollen. Like it's in the back of my throat. Anyway. Yeah, I think this is going to be my gateway drug to Greek retellings, and I have a couple others as well. They always seem so interesting, but they seem intimidating to me because I remember a little bit of Greek and Roman mythology from, what is it, like 7th or 8th grade that you learn that in. So yeah, excited to get into that one. And then the last book, as I was just kind of like grabbing the books I was going to use for this video, I came across one that I had recently ordered. I ordered it from Blackwell's. I had started the series a while back and then got the 3rd book instead of the 2nd book. And then I was even thinking recently, oh wait, did that book ever even come in? I should check on that. What book am I talking about? I'm talking about The Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. So this is the 2nd book in the Fitz and the Fool series, or the 2nd book in the entire series of the Farseer trilogy, or the Farseer trilogy is the first one. But what's the entire... Is there a name for the entire thing? Because it's like a series full of smaller series. But anyhow, these are chunky books. These are the UK editions. They look so beautiful when you see them on someone's shelves next to each other. And I just love the look of this. I want to be back in the world with Fitz. I'll probably reread just like a summary, kind of reminding me of where we were. I have the basic gist of what happened in Assassin's Apprentice. But I will probably be reading these both in May. Well, I'll definitely be reading this one in May, but I feel the urge to read this as well. And then, nonfiction wise, it's in the car. I'm reading Let Them by Mel Robbins. It's a self-help book. Mel Robbins, no relation to Tony Robbins, but she is a motivational speaker. And I don't remember how I came across her initially, but her first book and her first like big entrance into the world of self-help or motivational speaking is the 5-second rule. And this really was born out of her being in a really difficult time in her life, dealing with some like depression, lack of motivation, extreme financial debt, her and her husband, and just really feeling stuck, and that kind of paralysis by analysis, overwhelmed by life. There's so much that needs to get done, therefore you are completely incapable of doing anything. And she came up with the 5-second rule, literally just in bed. She needed to get up and take on the day, and she thought of a rocket launch: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed. And that's what started her career. And you find out that a little bit, that kind of origin story in more detail at the beginning of the book. And then the Let Them theory is really about, did I say that was the name of the book? Let Them is the name of the book. It is the Let Them theory. And it was really timely for me. My mother-in-law gave it to me as a very belated birthday gift. Actually, my birthday was in November, and I think she gave it to me like a month ago. I have been, the political climate, social media, particularly Facebook, was just getting to me so bad. And I got to this point a few weeks ago where I was just like rage all the time. I had this particular incident of road rage, which hadn't happened in a really long time. Like, I'll get pissed at people in the car being dumbasses. It's people being entitled. Entitlement is the thing that pisses me off so much. Like to a level that I hadn't experienced before. I didn't do anything dangerous. I didn't like follow anybody or get out of my, nothing like that, but like way more than I want to, you know, feel and display. And then I was just like on the verge of tears for like days, or like just like crying at the drop of the hat. And my fiance is like, what is going on with you? And I realized it was just this constant influx of just being absolutely bewildered and heartbroken at the state of this country and all that. So I kind of vowed like, okay, I'm deleting Facebook. I removed it from the like shortcut on my Google homepage, and basically I only have Messenger. So now, and has made an enormous difference. And starting the book Let Them has made a big difference as well. And essentially the idea is like, that person's going to be an entitled a-hole when they're driving. Let them. And then let me choose to respond in a way that feels good to me. Much more complicated than that, but is really timely book. I'm enjoying it, and I'm maybe a third of the way through. I'm typically reading that book actually on my breaks at school. So I have 2 10-minute breaks and a half-hour lunch and a 5-hour school day, evening actually. And so I'll go out to my book, read a few pages or whatever, and that's how I've been experiencing Let Them by I keep trying to say Will Rogers. Let Them by Mel Robbins. All right, be done. I'm done talking. I need to be done talking. All right, so it's the classic, right? It wouldn't be a BookTube video if I didn't do this, right? So these are the books that I have been reading, am reading, and plan to be reading imminently. I'd love to know, of course, have you read any of these books? Have you read Circe? And if you have, like, was it the gateway for you, or what was that gateway to Greek mythology for you, or just have any like good recommendations? Whoa, for more of a starter Greek mythology retelling that you don't need a whole lot of base knowledge going into it. So anyhow, thank you for watching. I'm Erin. This is Erin Go Live. Thank you for watching. Remember, every day is a great day for a great day, no matter what.